Man, has it been a day. I just came back from watching the Equalizer and it hit me. What does it mean to do good? What is the line between morality and violence? Is there a line? Is Robert McCall wrong for using violence to liberate others? Especially if it's tied to what Kant calls the will to do good or a will to do good. Well, let me show you how the Equalizer helped me figure this out. See, what's funny, someone asked Denzel this too. Are we good men to do nothing when we have the power to change an outcome, even if it includes violence? Or are we bad for doing nothing? Then what's the difference between violence and terrorism and violence and liberation? So if you haven't seen my last video on terror, go ahead and check that out right now. I dive deep into that topic and I would need a much longer video to tie these two things together. So no spoilers, but there's a scene where a man is thrown out of a window by his neck. I won't say any. And then there's a scene, well, multiple scenes where, Denzel does what Denzel does in the Equalizer. But what's the difference here? And I will argue is two things. The latter action was to keep peace, while the former action was to perpetuate terror. And the second thing would be the will to do good. The only thing that is good without qualification. And this is where morality comes into play. So I'm gonna use another example. Let's take, for instance, Nat Turner. Now, out of all the philosophical modes or trains of thought, why are we deciding to use Kant for this example? Specifically, the reason I'm using Kant is the way he ties morality to reason and logic. That is claimed the same things that are tied to what we find logical are also connected to the same ways that inform what we call moral. But not just that, but also how he views Africans. It's implied that they are incapable of reason because he calls them, as well as Native Americans, natural slaves, which is another reason why Nat Turner comes into play. Slavery was used to justify blacks for labor by viewing them as property, or even more so, less than human, because humans really can't be viewed as property, which in a sense morally absolves slave owners for the violent treatment of slaves and the slavery praxis as a whole, which then justifies the mere means Kant speaks of when he's relating to how people should never be used. Mere means as to use only for your benefit, without the interest or the benefit of the thing being used. Only things should be used by mere means or for mere means. And now you see the dilemma. Because slaves were viewed as property, they're now viewed as things. And this is where, after watching the film, I asked the question, is Nat Turner wrong for using violence to liberate himself and others? Is Robert McCall wrong for using violence to liberate others? Is he wrong for using violence to protect those who cannot protect themselves? To those what Denzel will call a cancer without a cure. And Kant is always also known to leave religion out of this context when we discuss morality. Makes me question, but that's a talk for another day. So Kant argues that morality is tied to the system of rules that we give ourselves. And I will argue in this context, their will to liberate others, even using violence, differs from those who terrorize with violence. If I had to ask myself, which Kant asks us to do, is it wrong if we all do this? If it is, then Kant would say it should not be done. But that universality towards morality can't necessarily be applied to people who have a historicity of long suffering and oppression, juxtaposed to someone who has not experienced this, also has systematic power. The answer is not so black and white. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure if Robert McCall is wrong. I'm not sure that Nat Turner is wrong either if we talk about this will to do good. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Leave them down below. Y'all know how we do this, start the conversation, but this is philosophy in real life, in real time. And this is Alan Wyman signing off. Peace. Oh, don't forget, watch the Equalizer. Watch it this weekend.